This We the People News one more time at educational purposes only. Okay, not attorney, not giving legal advice. I'm hearsay, you're hearsay, everybody's hearsay. Made up a country dance, didn't I? Okay, so let's never just look straight forward. Let's always look around us, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Alright, arm yourself with knowledge. Use that Second Amendment, people. Alright, look, people, to be really clear, I'm not against really government itself. I'm against the process they're using now. But overall, I do believe there is a need for that. Okay? I'm not one of them anarchists or anything like that. Um, so I may sound particular ways, but I don't believe we should have police officers. Okay, number one, we need to get rid of them. But I do believe we need sheriffs, and a real sheriff, not these fake sheriffs we have today. All right, and they're fake sheriffs because they're under the belief of these fake judges. Well, these fake judges is under the belief from the top fake judges, right? And this is where we have the problem today. All right, no justice, no peace. Okay, there's certain people out there that has firsthand knowledge that justice is not served. It's just everybody else thinks it is. And especially the ones that has not been involved in any sort of way of deals. And then they're brainwashed. Oh, well, I deserved a speeding ticket 5 miles an hour over. That's all my fault. I shouldn't have done it. I deserve it. I'm so sorry. All right? This shit's ridiculous. Okay? And then the judges are misleading people due to their word person and all that when you challenge it and realize you're not the corporation administrative branch, that they still treat you as such. Well, that's unclean hands. That's disgusting, nasty, just full of crap hands. All right? And you made a mockery of your courtroom, judges, magistrates. How about you actually follow the freaking law? Don't get me started. Sorry. It's frustrating sometimes knowing what I know, knowing what they do, and knowing that people out there still live in that cognitive dissonance and ignore the true facts of law.
All of the judges in the country have to turn and say, now we have to do it, right? And the problem there is that if you have to do it because it's constitutional, then you always had to do it, which means that what you're doing right now today is unconstitutional. Guys,
And it's going to be so difficult for them to admit that, right? Why? Because they're narcissists. How are you going to convince a narcissist he's a narcissist? Which goes back into my last video, right? So even if it gets to the Supreme Court, even if he loses his case, they actually do have to start looking outside the box and say, hey, this guy's figured out our stuff. We may need to take a couple of steps back and actually do our judicial job and start sliding back and treat persons as persons and men and women as men and women, and actually start rolling back this due process. That's the number one issue as today anyway, is they stuck in us in this administrative contract law crap that you implied consent to, or your parents implied consent to. They may never know this, they may never admit to it, but, and some of you guys may never admit it. But there's a reason why there's all caps names out there That's not even grammar. But they're still using it. There's a reason for it. They may never tell us, but there's still a reason for it. It's not for our benefit. Putting us in this legal person is not for our benefit. It's for their benefit. So think about this crap.
In Biloxi last week at the National Motorcycle Conference, right? Speaking to all the top leaders of these motorcycle clubs across this country, right? I was speaking to them about this. There were a number of attorneys that were there, a number of attorneys. Every single one of those attorneys, practicing attorneys, all the way from New York to Utah, every one of them agreed with me. Every single one of them said that I'm right. Every single one of them. Not only did they say that I'm right, but there were a couple of them that came up to me and said, I can't even wrap my head around how big this case is. Like this is so huge. They couldn't even grasp this concept of how big this fucking case actually is. This is the biggest case. This is so much bigger than any one of you can even understand as of this moment. This is a massive case because the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court of the United States in 1833, told all of the courts in its purview, every single court in America, that they don't have to obey the fundamental of the Constitution of the United States, the fundamental laws of the country, and as a result, they have never, ever, ever obeyed the Constitution.
That's because of fucking bankruptcy. Alright? That's why. We're under administrative. We're under some form of contract, and somehow or another, we're obligated to pay their debt. What the blank, y'all? Did you agree to this? I know people were sticking gold under their mattresses and stashing all their money way back then. Why? Because they didn't trust the freaking banks. Well, gee, I wonder why. It couldn't be the situation we're in today, could it? Think about it.
In 1833. That's why there's still standing Supreme Court precedent that says you don't get indicted by grand jury is because the Supreme Court of the United States introduced fraud into the entire system in 1833. And until that court comes out and removes the fraud vitiates any action or judgment of the court. Everything, it's all void. Because the highest court in the land created a criminal ruling that they erroneously called law that told all the states you don't got to follow the Constitution. Guess what? If you created a law that says I'm going to not do what the Constitution says because the judiciary created a ruling and erroneously called it law and you believe their fucking bullshit lie, then guess what? All the contracts that you're creating states under this law that is unconstitutional because it's relying upon something that was unconstitutional, then guess what? They're all void. Void, wholly without force or effect. None of them are valid because they all rely upon an unconstitutional state statute to deprive a person of a right that they're guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States of America because the judicial branch decided that they wanted to proliferate a financial institution instead of a justice system. This case is massive. Massive. Okay, they're massive. But, guys, we have one case to win. One. You guys, if you get behind this, if you can carry me...
And for educational purposes only, as well as this, y'all. Every judge, every attorney, every cop, and actually your local officials, and everybody is supposed to actually fill out a form. What form is that? Look it up, y'all. It's the 1938 Foreign Registration Act, Section 7. Everybody's supposed to sign it. Okay? Well, why is that? Never mind why. Just look it up. But it's foreign to you because you are separate from the corporations, from the United States of America. The United States is foreign. Alright? And you're in some form of contract with them, which is foreign to the Constitution.
From right now until June 6th, because New York is the most important stop, you guys. Before we go back in D.C., D.C. is not the most important stop. The most important stop is June 6th of this year in New York City. I need thousands of people to be there. We have got to make the New York news in New York. We've got to do that. That's going to be the only thing that is going to make this successful. We can fail every single one of these. I can go out to Amarillo today, and not a single person could show up, and that's okay. Because if we make it to New York City and we get people that
I'm going to stretch this more over. All right? This is not a Democrat issue. This is not a liberal issue. This is not an independent issue. This is not a Republican issue. And this is not a white wing issue. This is actually United States of America issue. This is not even United States issue. This is United States of America issue. All right? So, no, this is for everybody. This affects everybody. From liberals all the way up to the right-wing Republicans. It affects everybody.
actually attend that event, right? We get people to be there for that event on June 6th, right? And then you guys, by the news covering it in New York City, that will be enough to carry us into Washington, D.C., and they will not be able to shut this up. I'm focused right now on New York. We can fail every other one, but you guys, you got to get behind me in New York. You have to. Because if we do not have the crowd in New York, if I don't get the news finally to be there in New York City on the very last stop, this is not going to work. It will not work. It doesn't matter how many affidavits I have. It doesn't matter how strong the argument is. It doesn't matter how many laws are on our side. If they're able to continue to ignore this because we don't have the attention on this, we are going to fail once again. And we cannot fail, you guys. We can't. I'm sick and tired of seeing these fucking videos of people being shot up by these tyrants, right? I'm sick and tired of seeing these videos of little girls being destroyed by fucking cops, right? I'm tired of it. And you guys are too. So we got to work together. New York is so important. June 6th is so important. That is the most important stop, you guys. The most important stop. We've got to get the news there for that one, and I need your help to make this happen, okay? We can fail every single stop. I'm going to continue to do them. I'm going to be in these cities, as I said, and I promise, because I'm a man of my word. I will be there for all of you. But if no one comes out, that's fine. Come out for New York. Be there in New York, because if you're not, this isn't going to work. This is not going to happen. But if we can get the New York news on this, then when I return to Washington, D.C. on June 7th, we will prevail. They will not shut it down. They won't be able to. Right? When we deliver to the court on June 9th, they will not be able to ignore it any longer, and we will prevail. We will win. I need your help with that. I'm one man, and I will litigate this on your behalf. I think that a lot of you believe that I can do it, right? I built this strategy. You know, you guys want me to come out and argue your case. Guys, I don't need to come out and argue your case because I'm arguing it already. With the highest court in the land, the highest court in the country, I'm going to hold them accountable for the crimes that they committed, their agents committed against you. And guess what? When I do that, your judgment is void. The action that they're taking against you is void. I only have to win one case. One case. And when I win, I will send help down from above to you. And you will be empowered with what you need to win your case. Guys, this is David and Goliath. You guys know the story in Scripture, right? You know the story? David and Goliath? Remember, what happened was you had the Philistine army. A 1,000,000-man army. Huge, massive army with people that knew how to fight, right? That's your judges and prosecutors all across the country. We don't want to go against them because they will atomize us. They'll destroy us. They are too powerful.
And also remember what Jesus said, woe to your attorneys.
Individually, right? But what was happening was every day, every morning, the giant Goliath, he'd come out and he'd taunt the Israelite army, right? But the whole Israelite army, they stood there and they were afraid. They're like, oh, that giant, we can't take him down. These were all the warriors and all the people, the Israelites that were there to fight, right? And they were not willing to step up against this giant because they were too scared of it. That's all these attorneys. Right? All these, they're the ones that are trained to do this shit, but they're too fucking scared cowards to get out here and actually fight this Supreme Court of the United States because they're like, oh, he's too big, he's too powerful. You know, we're not going to be able to take him down. So they're sitting here. You know why? because they don't have faith.
I actually had to disagree with him on that one, right? These attorneys out here knows that there's profit to be made where they're at today. If everything actually went through what the process was actually truly at, and everything was going by the Constitution itself, everything would be cut in half.
In the one true law that rules over us. They don't have faith in the Constitution of the United States. They don't believe in its power, right? They've lost their way. They're the ones that are trained to do this shit, not me. I don't fucking like doing this. They're the ones that should be stepping up. But you know what? I came out here and I have faith in that one law. That one law is all I need.
All right. This will be the People News. Bye, y'all.